Hey BookTube, this is Friday Reads on Saturday. I'm Jen and I talk about audiobooks, and it's Saturday, not Friday, but just, you know, life gets in the way sometimes and you just can't get things done that you would love to get done. But anyway, let's put that aside and let me tell you about the books that I read last week and what I'm reading this week. My Soul to Keep is book 1 in the Soul series by Kennedy Ryan. It's narrated on audio by Kennicott and Wen Ross. I have never come across another partnership of narrators like these two. And I say that because they narrate always from 2 points of view, but they do it like a radio play. So Kennicott was the female lead in this book, and then Wen Ross was the male lead. So anytime the female lead was talking, anytime, it was Kennicott. And anytime the guy was talking was Wen Ross. And the difference there is that there can be a chapter from one point of view, and that particular narrator traditionally or usually will narrate all the dialogue. They'll do it in a different voice, but they'll distinguish the voices, but they'll do all the dialogue, and then the other narrator will do the other point of view. Well, yeah, they mix it up, and I really liked that.
Everything's great,
she says.
Well, I worked an extra shift at the Note today.
Not surprising. She's the hardest working girl I've ever met. An extra shift, huh? I laugh and lean against the pool table Marlon insisted I had to have, but we rarely use. That sounds like you.
Yeah, well, my manager gave me the day off tomorrow.
Cool.
So on that count, I really like the narration. And one of the characters is from Georgia, and that was the character that Kennicott voiced, and I thought she got that accent, just nailed it. Perfect accent. I know people in Georgia, and I know what that accent should sound like, and it was spot on. So she also, you know, she's a seasoned narrator. She got all of the phrasing right. All of the emotion was perfect, you know? So wonderful narration from her. Wen Ross, not so much. And I think the basic problem here was that he wasn't the right guy for the role of this character. And I say that because he would voice things in kind of a generally happy tone, an upbeat tone, you know, and it wasn't that he was happy all the time. He didn't narrate things like that, but generally overall, it had a very positive feel to it. And this character was not like that. He was much more short-tempered and morose. Maybe morose isn't the right word, but certainly reserved, and he just wanted to cut to the chase most of the time, and he did have a lot of deep feelings for this other character, but you know, I wouldn't say he was happy. You know, he didn't strike me as that kind of a guy. So yeah, that was just a casting thing, because Wen Ross otherwise got it all right, I think. I don't know, it just didn't ring true, you know, with the character. So yeah, sometimes that happens, but other than that, the narration was really good and I liked it. Now the book is a rock and roll romance. It's a new adult. It's about a guy who was a prodigy and raised by his dad, managed by his dad and his mom from when he was very young, like 4 or 5 years old, giving concerts and becoming a name in the business, and you know, raising him. And then when he gets to be about 16, he gets addicted to antidepressants, and so he needs to go to rehab, but his parents keep saying, oh, you'll get over it, you just need to take a break, you'll get over it. So he goes to court and gets emancipated from his parents, and his dad is an identical twin, so his uncle starts to manage him, and his uncle's a very different guy. And so we are at the point where the guy has become a rock star and very famous, and so he meets a girl who, her mother has just died. She's trying to pay off her mother's medical bills. She and her mother were very close, so she's dealing with the grief. trying to work all the time. Great girl, and the rock star meets her, and of course romance ensues. This went a little, I don't know. I don't know that I loved the romance. It ended on an interesting note, and I think that's the good part about this book, was that it went there, you know, where you don't normally think that books are going to go there. And so it didn't really end on a cliffhanger, but it ended on a very, how are they going to handle that in the next book kind of an ending. So, interesting. I kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, I thought, oh no, we'll get an epilogue. Nope. So I ended up giving that one 3 stars. Southern Pleasure is book 1 in the Southern Heart series by Kaylee Ryan, narrated by Amy Johnson and Joe Arden. I liked this narration a lot. Joe Arden is one of the better narrators that I know of. When a book is narrated from 2 points of view, I'm always glad to see his name. He's not my absolute favorite, but he gets it right most of the time. You know, I never feel like he narrates in such a way that I get pulled out of the story. He doesn't do that. He's good. He's really good. So his narration was great. Amy Johnson, same thing. I thought her narration was very good. These 2 narrators, they narrated this book in such a way that I got into the book and I didn't get pulled out of the story because of their narration. And that is always, always, always the best narration that you can ask for from a book. So, yeah, on that front, it was really, really good. The book is the first book in a series that I started with book 3. I'm not even sure why. I don't know. I read book 3 a long time ago and I thought, I like this. And so I read book 1. It's all about a guy who his girlfriend gets pregnant and then gives up all rights to the baby. She wants to have an abortion and he says, please, 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 I will raise this child. I won't ask anything of you. Just please have the baby. So she does. This guy he's a rancher. He deals with horses, and he's got a best friend who helps him out, and they fall in love, and it's, you know, goes from there. It gets a little dicey at the, you know, towards the end, because there's stuff that happens that you know it's going to resolve itself, but you don't know how. So watching it happen, I mean, it's not that it's relatively predictable, but it was still good. I still enjoyed it. So, yeah, I gave it 3 stars. I'm probably going to read book 2, catch myself up. I have a feeling that these 2 narrators do the rest of the books. So, yeah, I'll probably pick those up. Sweet Cheeks is by Kay Bromberg and narrated by Andi, Arndt, and Sebastian York. I was really pleased with this narration. I'm really kind of getting to where I like Sebastian York. I really am. I think that when I very first began to listen to him, he bugged me because I couldn't speed him up. Now I speed everybody up, but I can speed him up and he just sounds better to me. He's got a really deep voice, which is usually appropriate. Andi Arndt, I really like her. I like her as a person, so I know I'm going to like her narration. And yeah, she's always fantastic. So that made it fantastic. So the narration was, yeah, I'd call it fantastic. Yeah. I don't know that I'd call it amazing, but it was definitely fantastic. This is about a woman who owns a cupcake bakery, and she was childhood friends and then high school sweethearts with a guy who went to Hollywood and made it big. And the characters, I think, had a little more depth than what you would expect from a romance like this. So I was really pleased, you know, between the narration and the story, which did things that I didn't expect. I really liked it. There was one event that was just thrown in and then ignored. It was like, bam, there and gone, which I didn't think needed to be in there. I think during the content editing, that probably should have gotten pulled out because she didn't follow up with that at all. I thought, no, that just didn't need to be in the book. But I gave that 3.5 stars. I did round it down to 3, but I think, you know, it was definitely on the 3.5 end of 3 stars. So yeah, I really liked it. And lastly, 99 Days by Kaylee Cotugno. This is narrated by Allyson Ryan. And I loved Allyson Ryan. I thought she did a great job. Once again, you know, I didn't notice her. I didn't get pulled out of the story because the phrasing was different than I would have said it, or I thought somebody else would have said it. So again, you know, great narration because I didn't even pay attention to her. I was completely absorbed in the story, and it was because of her. So great job, Allyson Ryan. The book does not have a lot of good ratings. I think this is down in the 3.3 area on Goodreads, and I didn't care because I liked Kaylee Cotugno's book, How to Love, and I thought, I don't care. This involves a girl who has been at boarding school and she comes back home and she is a pariah. It's a whole lot of interesting stuff. I didn't find it angsty, which I thought was interesting. And I think people are mad because they feel like there was cheating involved and, oh, you know, that's terrible. And I agree, that's terrible. But the thing is, you're inside this girl's head and you can hear what her thought processes are. So it's hard to fault her for any of her actions. And it's easy to see why she does what she does. So in the end, I thought it ended really well. It didn't resolve in a tied up in a bow kind of a way, which I think is another reason people are upset about it. I really liked this book. I gotta tell you, it is not a book I expected to like. You know, if anybody else had written this book, it would have been terrible. But because she did it in the way that she did it, I think it was great. So I'm sure that there are people all over the place that will disagree with me on that count. So, you know, I'm glad that we all have our own opinion, but I ended up giving that one 4 stars. And it's like on the 4.25 end of 4 stars. Right now, I am listening to Pandemic, which is by A.G. Riddle. It is book 1 in the Extinction files, and it is narrated by Eduardo Ballerini. Well, this narration is fabulous. Fabulous. This guy is so good. I've heard him before, I think. And I read another book by A.G. Riddle, and I kind of put this on hold for a long time because I thought I just wasn't ready for it yet. But it's really good. I am thoroughly enjoying it. So I have book 2 ready to go after I finish this one. So sci-fi and biological warfare and post-apocalyptic, yeah, that is my jam. So anyway, let me know what you're reading. You know, I always love to hear what you're up to. And I'm supposed to get 2 to 4 inches of snow tonight. You know, we got snow last weekend, and I looked out the window and thought, it's March. You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. Yeah, well, you know, thankfully it's the kind of snow that melts the next day, which is the best kind, because then it's pretty and then it's gone. So anyway, that's it for now for me, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.